Have you ever stopped to think if all those legends of gods, celestial beings, and supernatural events could have a completely different origin than we always imagined? What if these myths, passed down from generation to generation, were actually stories of real encounters with extraterrestrial beings? From ancient civilizations, with their inexplicable monuments, to cultures that chronicle mysterious contacts from the sky, there is something far beyond our comprehension waiting to be discovered. Today we're going to dive into cosmic secrets, ancient civilizations, and the star gods that may be behind it all. But before we reveal these mysteries, how about subscribing to the channel? Here we explore what's most fascinating and mysterious about humanity's past, present, and future. So just leave the like, activate the bell so you don't miss any content, and come with us on this cosmic journey full of discoveries. Imagine for a moment that the stories of gods and divine beings told over the centuries were actually accounts of extraterrestrials who visited Earth in ancient times. Sounds like a fantastic theory, doesn't it? But what if the gods of ancient civilizations were actually beings from other worlds, with technology so advanced that they were interpreted as magic or divinity by humans at the time? What would this mean for our understanding of history and our own existence? Historical records are full of mysterious figures, such as Zeus, Odin, Quetzalcoatl, or even the angels and demons of the Abrahamic religions, who demonstrate powers incomprehensible by human standards. But were these accounts entirely a figment of the imagination, or did they have their roots in something real? The presence of these star gods can be seen in cave paintings, ancient sculptures, and myths passed down from generation to generation. They are entities that supposedly possess the ability to fly, control the weather, and shape the destiny of humanity. There is a fascinating theory that many of these stories are not just myths, but ciphered records of alien contacts. Stories that talk about beings descending from the sky in flaming chariots, or who came to teach the knowledge of the cosmos, planting the seeds of the first human civilizations. But why did these gods disappear? And why is there such a great effort to hide the truth about them? To understand the origins of these stories, it is important to analyze how early human civilizations understood the world around them. Imagine living in a time when scientific knowledge was non-existent or extremely limited. Everything around, from the sun to the wind, from the thunder to the rain, was a mystery. Human beings with an innate need to understand and explain the world ended up creating narratives to make sense of these phenomena. But what if some of these explanations were actually based on real events of contacts with cosmic beings? Since the dawn of humanity, stories have emerged of beings coming from heaven, possessing great power and wisdom. Ancient cultures, from different regions and out of contact with each other, reported figures with human appearance, but with unusual abilities. It is impressive how, in different parts of the planet, people have developed stories that echo the same basic ideas of beings descending from the sky and bringing knowledge and powers that far exceeded the understanding of the time. The Sumerians, for example, one of the oldest civilizations in history, narrated about the Anunnaki, gods who came from the sky to shape the earth and create human civilization. They were not only considered abstract gods, but rather physical beings who, according to legends, walked among humans. And if we think of the terminology Anunnaki, it can be translated as those who came from heaven to earth. Could this description be referring to beings from another planet? Similarly, in Egypt, accounts spoke of gods who came from the stars, such as Osiris and Isis, who taught the people the secrets of agriculture, medicine, and astronomy. Egyptian texts and hieroglyphics are replete with references to heavenly boats, gates of heaven, and beings who seem to have knowledge beyond human comprehension. These divine figures were often depicted with features reminiscent of extraterrestrial figures, elongated eyes, disproportionate heads, and always associated with divine powers. Most intriguingly, these narratives are not limited to Mesopotamia or Egypt. From India to Mexico, stories emerge of celestial beings who brought light and knowledge to Earth. In the Hindu scriptures, the Vedas, there are mentions of Vimanas, celestial ships capable of crossing the skies, described in details reminiscent of a modern spaceship, with compartments, propulsion mechanisms, and even the ability to fire destructive weapons. These vimanas were piloted by the gods and were often used in celestial wars. In Central America, Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent god of the Maya, is described as a man with white skin and a beard who brought knowledge and mysteriously disappeared, promising to return in the distant future. This sounds in many ways like the account of an extraterrestrial visitation. But after all, are these gods really mythological figures or records of encounters with visitors from other worlds? If we look closely, the pattern repeats itself in a striking way. Human-looking beings, but with something beyond in their presence, coming from the heavens, possessing knowledge and power, and who have shaped entire civilizations. As we delve into the origins of mythologies, a fundamental question arises. Why do so many different cultures, over millennia and in isolated regions, have such similar stories about gods coming from the stars? The presence of these star gods seems to transcend geographical and cultural boundaries, suggesting a universal phenomenon that has profoundly marked humanity. Isn't it possible that these myths were just different versions of the same real phenomenon? A physical manifestation of celestial beings who came to Earth to interact with humanity? These primitive civilizations interpreted natural phenomena as divine manifestations. When mysterious beings descended from the heavens, bringing with them advanced technologies and unknown wisdom, they were inevitably venerated as gods. Imagine a people with no knowledge of electricity or quantum physics encountering a spaceship or witnessing a demonstration of anti-gravity. It would undoubtedly be interpreted as a miracle, something so far from his reality that it could only be attributed to divine forces. The Egyptian, Sumerian, Hindu, Mayan, Aztec, and Norse gods have striking similarities. Almost all of them were considered superior beings who possessed knowledge beyond the human and incomprehensible abilities for the time. Whether it's divine fire, which could be seen as energy weapons, or the ability to travel through space and time, divine figures seem to share common characteristics that connect them to modern accounts of extraterrestrials. In addition, many of these gods possess the ability to manipulate nature, such as calling storms, controlling volcanoes, or even giving life to inanimate beings. Several ancient accounts suggest that there were times when gods, or star beings, walked among humans. In ancient Greece, it was commonly believed that the gods lived on Mount Olympus, but descended to Earth to mingle with mortals, influence events, and even produce semi-divine descendants, such as Hercules. This raises an interesting question. Are these stories reflections of real encounters with beings from other worlds? The fact that many of these gods were directly involved in wars, romances, and human affairs suggests that they interacted in a very physical and present way. In the Middle East, the Old Testament relates several stories of angels who visited the earth, guided people, and demonstrated supernatural powers. The figure of Enoch, for example, is a biblical character who was taken to heaven and received divine knowledge. The Book of Enoch, an apocryphal text that is part of the Jewish and Christian tradition, describes a fantastic journey in which Enoch is taken by winged beings to places of light in heavenly landscapes. He talks about the house of angels and describes in detail a structure that could well be interpreted as a spaceship or an orbital base. The prophet Ezekiel describes in detail a vision of a flaming chariot descending from the sky, driven by creatures with the appearance of hybrid beings. The description of this chariot, consisting of wheels within wheels, bright lights, and mechanical movements, hypothesizes that Ezekiel was trying to describe something he didn't understand. Perhaps a spaceship or some kind of alien vehicle. Are these descriptions spiritual metaphors or the result of encounters with advanced technological beings? In South America, the Incas believed that their gods came from a place called Paititi, and that the earth was visited by Viracocha, a divine being who emerged from Lake Titicaca and taught ancient people about agriculture, astronomy, and architecture. This same figure is associated with inexplicable constructions, such as Machu Picchu and cosmic phenomena. The way the Incas and other Indian cultures talked about the gods wasn't metaphorical. They actually believed that these beings were real and tangible. A common feature of many of these ancient gods is their technological power. In Hindu legends, Vimanas were advanced flying ships, which possessed weapons capable of causing mass destruction, recalling the power of modern bombs. There are Hindu texts that describe wars between gods using weapons that provoke pillars of fire that could burn everything in their path, or beams of light that destroyed entire armies. These weapons, called astra, were powerful and terrible tools, and the text suggests that only those with the right knowledge and wisdom could use them without bringing calamity. In ancient Greece, the gods had lightning and celestial fire that could be energy weapons unknown to humans at the time. Zeus, the king of the gods, was known for his thunderbolt, a devastating weapon that he used to control the weather and destroy his enemies. This weapon could be a form of advanced technology, a kind of energy device that caused destruction, similar to how we understand laser or electromagnetic pulse weapons today. These legendary objects were seen as manifestations of divine power, but in light of modern understanding, it is possible that they were technological artifacts of extraterrestrial origin. But the question that remains is, if these weapons or devices really existed, where did they go? Had they been destroyed, hidden, or were they still in some secret place, waiting to be rediscovered? It is possible that technological knowledge has been passed on to humanity, but that some of it has been lost or hidden over the centuries. Some ancient civilizations seem to have had access to astonishing information about the cosmos and science. The gigantic and precise constructions, such as the pyramids of Egypt or Stonehenge, are enigmas to this day, suggesting that those who built them had access to knowledge that should not have been available at that time. The heavens have always fascinated humanity. Long before the invention of modern telescopes, ancient civilizations watched the stars with deep reverence. Astronomy and religion were inextricably linked, not only for the Egyptians, but for the Mayans, Babylonians, and other cultures. The movements of the celestial bodies were more than just natural phenomena. They were divine manifestations and signs from the cosmos that indicated the presence and will of the star gods. It is impressive how the constellations, the planets, and even temporary phenomena, such as comets, were seen as messages from the gods. For many ancient cultures, the stars were literally the eyes of the gods watching the earth, ever vigilant and attentive to the fate of humanity. The Egyptians, for example, believed that the pyramids were aligned with the constellation Orion, serving as a sort of portal or guide for the dead on their journey to the afterlife. They were not only funerary monuments, but instruments of contact with the cosmic beyond. If we think of the pyramids as a kind of cosmic antenna, this raises the hypothesis that the builders sought to establish a connection with beings from other worlds. Were these mysterious constructions erected under the direct guidance of alien gods as points of contact or communication? Or would they be places of special energy, capable of channeling cosmic power? An intriguing theory suggests that these monuments formed an interconnected planetary network, a kind of grid that served to channel energy or communication throughout the planet. This would explain why such distinct civilizations, without contact with each other, created such similar structures and fascinated with the observation of the heavens. The Mayans were also masters of astronomy. Their calendars were incredibly accurate, even accurately predicting astronomical events, such as eclipses and planetary cycles. Their cities were built in harmony with the celestial movements. Tikal, one of the largest Mayan cities, was designed so that sunlight during the solstice would pass through the tops of its temples exactly, aligning with Mayan cosmology and reflecting the belief that the movements of the cosmos directly influenced life on Earth. These celestial observations were so precise that many scholars wonder, did the Maya possess astronomical knowledge that was given to them by stellar beings? Or would their religious practices have a basis in some kind of direct contact or communication with alien entities? One of the most intriguing phenomena supporting this hypothesis is the existence of visual records of extraterrestrial contacts in ancient cultures. Cave paintings from the Dogon tribe in West Africa feature humanoid figures and objects that look like flying ships. These paintings date back thousands of years, and the most interesting thing is that the Dogons possessed advanced astronomical knowledge about the star Sirius, including information about its invisible companion star, Sirius B, which was only confirmed by modern science in 1862. How could a primitive people have knowledge of such a specific and difficult-to-observe star without the help of telescopes? One of the explanations is that this knowledge was passed on to them by stellar visitors, possibly beings coming from the star Sirius itself. Throughout history, unusual phenomena in the sky have been recorded and interpreted as omens or divine signs. Comets, shooting stars, and eclipses were seen as messages from the gods, capable of announcing events such as the birth or death of kings, changes in the seasons, or impending catastrophes. But these days, with technology to capture images and analyze phenomena, many believe that these signals may actually be attempts at extraterrestrial contact. One of the most intriguing cases occurred in 1561 in Nuremberg, Germany. Several citizens reported seeing an aerial battle in the skies, with flying objects of different shapes facing each other in a kind of cosmic war. Drawings and accounts from the time depict crosses, circles, and cylinders floating and emitting light before disappearing into the horizon. To this day, this event is interpreted in different ways, from religious visions to alien contacts. Another curious phenomenon that may be linked to communication with stellar beings are the crop circles, which began to appear massively at the end of the 20th century. Others believe that they are warnings or attempts at communication from star gods, trying to pass on some kind of message to humanity. Although some crop circles are proven to be fakes made by humans, there are numerous cases that remain unexplained and raise the hypothesis that these formations may be the manifestation of unknown forces or beings. What intrigues the researchers is that some of these crop circles have such complex geometric precision and symmetry that it would be almost impossible for humans to replicate in such a short time, especially at night and over such wide areas. In addition, the way the plants are folded without being broken and the absence of footprint marks or other evidence of human interference makes some believe that they are actually signals or messages coming from outside the Earth. Could these celestial manifestations be messages from the star gods who still try to guide or warn us of future events? What if these geometric shapes and messages in fields were a language or a code of cosmic communication designed to be understood by those who have eyes to see? Or would these cosmic manifestations be indications of an imminent return of these alien gods to Earth? Throughout human history, many events have been recorded as warning signs or as evidence of the presence of cosmic forces. Solar eclipses, comets, and other astronomical phenomena have often been interpreted as divine omens. Perhaps these signals in the sky were actually the ancient equivalent of radio signals or cosmic transmissions coming from the star gods, trying to communicate something to humanity. One of the greatest mysteries of our world is the construction of colossal monuments in ancient times. The pyramids of Egypt, Stonehenge, the temples of Greece, the lost city of Machu Picchu, and even the Nazca lines. All of these constructions defy modern understanding of engineering and architecture. Many of these constructions were made with impressive precision, using techniques and knowledge that seem to be far ahead of their time, which begs the question, how were ancient civilizations able to build such structures without the help of advanced technologies? If we think of the pyramids as clear examples of this, it is difficult to understand how the Egyptians, without the use of modern machines or precision tools, managed to build such huge structures aligned with the stars. Not only were the pyramids built with multi-ton blocks of stone, but they were also erected so precisely that their astronomical alignments and geometric symmetry remain impressive to this day. This suggests that somehow the builders possessed advanced knowledge of astronomy, geography, and mathematics. But how did they acquire this knowledge? One theory suggests that these constructions were erected under the direct guidance of alien gods, as points of contact or communication. Similarly, Stonehenge is speculated as a site of astronomical and ritual observation, where the movements of the stars and sun were deeply revered. The circular arrangement of the stones, their orientation in relation to the solstice and equinoxes, and the precision with which the stones were carved and transported are evidence that something deeper was happening there. Some theorists claim that Stonehenge and other stone circles around the world were places of communication with cosmic beings, dimensional portals, or even ancient machines used to connect with the star gods. One of the most mysterious constructions is the Puma Punku complex in Bolivia. The site is made up of gigantic stones, carved with millimeter precision and fitted together in a way that even today, with our modern technologies, would not be easy to replicate. Some stones weigh more than 100 tons and have been transported over distances of up to 10 kilometers. It is not known for sure how the builders managed to transport and carve these blocks, as the technique required seems to be far beyond what would have been possible for the time. Were these constructions physical evidence that ancient civilizations possessed knowledge and technology inherited from extraterrestrial beings? Many of these theories lead to the conclusion that these ancient monuments are not merely religious or cultural, but rather multifunctional constructions that serve both as places of worship and as points of contact with the cosmos. These locations could have been erected as a kind of communication network, a global system for contacting or channeling energy from the alien gods. If there are extraterrestrial gods who have shaped the history of humanity, why don't we know more about them? And if there are such evident signs of its influence on our history and ancient civilizations, why isn't this information widely discussed or studied? Many believe that this is a conspiracy that involves both governments and religious institutions around the world. Since the 1940s, governments have been recording and investigating UFO sightings. An example of this is the famous case of Roswell, where supposedly an alien spacecraft crashed in New Mexico and was recovered by the US government. The event was quickly dismissed as a weather balloon, but secret documents and witnesses suggest a conspiracy to cover up the truth. There are reports from military personnel who claim to have seen alien bodies being removed from the craft, and the case has started a series of theories about how governments hide information about the extraterrestrial presence on Earth. It is not only the United States government that possesses such secrets. There are reports of encounters with UFOs and extraterrestrial contacts around the world, from the former Soviet Union to Japan, passing through Brazil, where the Varginha Cassi, known as the Brazilian Roswell, describes the sighting and capture of an alien being in 1996. The stories are always similar. A sighting is made, the government denies or covers up the situation, and the few who try to expose the truth are discredited or silenced. Many conspiracy theories point out that governments and religious organizations have crucial information about the presence of extraterrestrials in human history, but choose to hide such knowledge to maintain the status quo. The Catholic Church, for example, has a long tradition of keeping secrets in the Vatican archives. Some say that these documents hide information about extraterrestrial contacts and the true nature of the angels and gods of the scriptures. Inside these archives, letters, star maps, and contact reports dating back millennia would be kept. One of the reasons this information is kept secret is the fear of the impact that the revelation could have on society. The discovery that humanity was shaped by star gods would shake up the current social, religious, and political structure. The notion that our religions and spiritual beliefs were actually inspired or manipulated by beings from other planets would be a profound blow to many. The philosophical and spiritual implications would be enormous, capable of completely changing the perception we have of ourselves and our place in the universe. But why hide this information? One possibility is that the revelation of the truth about the star gods and humanity's extraterrestrial origin would shake up the current social, religious, and political structure. If we knew that our gods were not divine beings but rather advanced extraterrestrials, it would raise questions about the purpose of life, about the origin of man, and about the ultimate destiny of humanity. This could even lead to social conflicts, existential crises, and a complete break with traditional beliefs. Ancient religions and their sacred texts are possibly the keys to unlocking the mysteries of the star gods. The scriptures are full of descriptions that, today, could be interpreted as alien contacts. In the Bible, for example, there are several references to angels descending from heaven in chariots of fire. The prophet Ezekiel describes a vision of a spinning wheel in the heavens, moved by beings with the faces of a lion, an eagle, and a man, an image that could easily be associated with an alien ship. Other sacred texts also speak of mysterious entities descending from the heavens to guide, punish, or help humans. In the Quran, there are references to jinn, beings who live on a different plane from ours, but who have the ability to interact with the physical world. These jinn are often portrayed as beings who can influence humans and are able to travel great distances instantaneously. These descriptions resemble interdimensional beings or extraterrestrial entities. Ancient legends are filled with accounts of divine weapons and devices that seem to grant supernatural powers to their wielders. When we look at these stories from a modern perspective, it is not difficult to imagine that such tools could be advanced technological devices brought by extraterrestrial beings that the ancients interpreted as gods. When one thinks of mythical artifacts such as weapons or divine devices, we find examples in virtually every culture. For example, in Hindu mythology, we have the Vajra, an artifact associated with the god Indra, who possessed the power of thunder and could be used for both protection and destruction. Its power was capable of creating explosions and annihilating entire armies, being comparable to a high-energy weapon or even a nuclear explosion. The Vajra was so powerful that it could only be used by those who possessed great mastery and knowledge. Which begs the question, was this an example of advanced technology left by the star gods? Another interesting example is in Norse mythology. Thor, the god of thunder, was known to use his hammer, Mjolnir, which was not only a weapon of destruction, but also a symbol of protection and strength. However, when analyzed from the perspective of an alien technology, Mjolnir could be interpreted as a kind of technological device capable of manipulating energy and gravity. The fact that Thor is able to summon thunder and control the weather with the hammer is something that aligns with the idea of an electromagnetic weapon or an alien weather manipulation tool. In Japanese tradition, there are reports about the Kusanagi sword, one of the 3 sacred relics of Japan, which was known for its extraordinary powers. It is said that the sword had the ability to control the wind and the forces of nature. Once again, the idea of an artifact capable of manipulating natural elements seems to align with the hypothesis of advanced technologies coming from cosmic beings. And we cannot forget the famous Ark of the Covenant, one of the greatest relics in biblical history. The Ark was a golden box that, according to the Old Testament, contained the tablets of the law and was capable of releasing a terrible power. There are reports that anyone who touched the Ark or opened it improperly would be instantly killed by its divine power. Its ability to emit rays of light, cause earthquakes, and even incinerate enemies suggests that the Ark may have been more than a religious symbol. Could it be possible that the Ark of the Covenant was an alien technology designed to store or release energy in a way that the ancients interpreted as divine? In Greece, legends about the Olympian gods are replete with examples of devices and weapons of cosmic power. Zeus, the king of the gods, not only had his thunderbolt, but also possessed the Aegis, an impenetrable shield that protected him from any threat. Other gods, such as Hermes, possessed sandals that allowed him to move at superhuman speeds, and Hades, the god of the underworld, had a helmet that made him invisible. Such objects could be interpreted as advanced alien technologies, perhaps cloaking, propulsion, or energetic protection devices, which were misunderstood by the civilizations of the time and reinterpreted as magical or divine artifacts. As we expand the gaze beyond the concept of weapons and artifacts, we also need to consider the entire civilizations that seem to have suddenly disappeared, taking with them their knowledge and secrets. Many of these civilizations are surrounded by myths that suggest a direct connection to star gods. Atlantis is perhaps the most famous lost civilization, described by Plato as an advanced society that disappeared overnight after a great cataclysm. Atlantis was considered an incredibly advanced civilization for its time, with technologies that allowed it to control the weather, construct majestic buildings, and supposedly access higher dimensions. Were the Atlanteans direct descendants of the stellar gods, or perhaps humans who possessed cosmic knowledge bestowed by these gods? The legend of Atlantis talks about advanced technologies, energy crystals, astronomical knowledge, and powerful machines that controlled the planet's natural forces. These accounts echo the stories of other lost civilizations, such as Lemuria, a hypothetical land that would have existed in the Indian Ocean. Lemuria, also known as Mu, is often portrayed as a spiritual civilization connected to the cosmos and the energies of the stars. The Lemurians are said to have possessed telepathic abilities, a deep connection to nature, and knowledge about interdimensional travel. Can these reports be mere fantasies or reflections of ancestral memories of contacts with beings from other dimensions or planets? In Central America, the Mayan civilization also left behind traces of advanced cosmic knowledge. Its cities, such as Tikal and Palenque, were astronomically aligned and were designed to connect with the heavens. The accuracy of their calendars and the ability to predict astronomical events accurately suggests that they possessed knowledge that was not common for the time. The Maya, as well as the Atlanteans and Lemurians, mysteriously disappeared, leaving behind only traces of their culture and a series of unanswered questions. Would the Mayans have accessed cosmic knowledge that allowed them to transcend their physical existence? Or maybe they were taken by the star gods themselves. The quest for cosmic knowledge and the truth about extraterrestrial gods may seem fascinating, but there is a reason why many believe that this information was kept secret. Knowing the truth can have serious consequences, both for the individual and for humanity as a whole. In many religious traditions, there are stories of humans who have tried to rise to the level of the gods or uncover forbidden secrets and ended up suffering terrible punishments for doing so. The Greek myth of Prometheus, who stole fire from the gods to deliver to humanity, is a clear example of this. He was severely punished for daring to grant humans knowledge they should not possess. This narrative reflects the fear that certain powers and information, if they fall into the wrong hands, can bring destruction or unpredictable consequences. Another myth that echoes this same idea is that of the Tower of Babel, described in the Old Testament. Human beings, in an attempt to match God, built a tower that was supposed to reach the heavens. As a result, God confused their languages and scattered the peoples so that they would never again attempt such a feat. This story can be interpreted as a warning against seeking forbidden knowledge or trying to match oneself with the gods. Do these stories have their roots in real events, where humanity tried to achieve cosmic knowledge that was beyond their ability to understand, and as a result was stopped by the star gods? Today we live in an age of science and technology. Every day we make new discoveries about the universe, identify exoplanets that could harbor life, and explore the cosmos in search of answers. But what if, during this search, we come across undeniable evidence of the presence of extraterrestrial gods? How would this change our society? And more importantly, would we be prepared to deal with the truth? The revelation of the existence of star gods would completely change the way we see our history, our place in the universe, and our evolution. It would make it clear that humanity is not unique or special, but part of a cosmic network of advanced civilizations. Perhaps this revelation was the necessary impulse for humanity to unite in favor of a universal consciousness, transcending borders and conflicts. We could finally realize that our differences are superficial and that we are part of something much larger, a cosmic community. But there is also a risk that such a discovery could bring chaos. What if the alien gods who visited us in the past are still watching, waiting for the right moment to return? What if we are on the verge of a revelation that will show that we are not alone in the universe and that our history has been shaped by beings from other worlds? Contact with extraterrestrial beings, or the revelation that the gods of ancient civilizations were beings from other planets, would raise philosophical, spiritual, and even political questions. Religions around the world would have to adapt their teachings, reconciling the existence of star gods with their doctrines. This could shake the foundations of many beliefs, or it could give rise to a new form of spirituality, more in line with a cosmic and universal perspective. Cosmic awakening is a fascinating idea that suggests that as humanity begins to become more aware of its place in the universe and the stellar beings that inhabit it, our collective consciousness will also expand. This means that not only our scientific and technological understanding will evolve, but also our spirituality and our way of relating to the cosmos. Would we be able to accept the idea that we are a part of a larger plan? Or are we still stuck in our earthly conflicts, unable to see beyond our differences? Perhaps this cosmic awakening is inevitable. As humanity moves forward and continues to explore the mysteries of the universe, it is only a matter of time before we find answers that connect us to the star gods. The only question that remains is, are we ready to accept the truth and all that it implies? Are we prepared to face the fact that we are not the first nor the only intelligent beings in the universe?